Ich glaube, so wird das nichts.
Man kann sich das heute kaum noch vorstellen, ne? Aber als ich ein Teenager war, da war ich richtig hässlich. Spindel. Und dann so kleine Äppelbrüste, ne? Die gerade mal in so eine Fernfahrerhand passten. Ne? Und auch noch beide gleich groß. Und übertrieben weiße Zähne, alles symmetrisch. Und dann auch noch so ein kleiner, runder, fester Arsch. Hör mir auf. Oh, schreckliche Zeit, ne? Aber dann hat sich das ja von einem Tag auf den anderen geändert. Ne? Da kam die Metamorphose. Objekt der Begierde, das heute vor euch sitzt. Ne? Ha, gut, ein bisschen was machen lassen, aber den Rest hat sich unser Schöpfer persönlich ausgedacht. Ne? Die alte notgeile Sau.
Schatz,
Wie siehst du denn wieder aus?
gab nur einen kleinen Streit wegen der letzten Zigarette.
Aber wenn ich dir sage, hör bitte mit dem Rauchen auf. Gefällt dir nicht?
Wie? Was?
Die Tönung. Ach, was frage ich überhaupt? Ist dir doch sowieso nicht aufgefallen. Ist ja nur eine ganz andere Farbe.
Oh ja, sieht gut aus. Gefällt mir.
Ja, komm, Martin, lass gut sein.
Rebecca, hast du mit Dr. Kamp gesprochen?
Mit wem? Ich wollte es mit den neuen Badezimmerfliesen jetzt erstmal unter Dach und Fach bekommen. Hier, schau mal. Welche gefallen dir denn gut? Ich mag ja die hier. Mit dem dezenten Goldrelief.
Mann, vergiss die beknackten Badezimmerfliesen. Ruf endlich unseren Anwalt an, dass er eine Revision beantragt und mich hier herausholt.
So, für mich ist das Gespräch hier mal wieder vorbei.
Was? Nein.
Entschuldige bitte, Martin, wenn sich hier nicht alles den ganzen Tag nur um dich dreht. Du wirst es nicht glauben, wie du.
Rebecca,
Komm ich hier extra hin. Bist du schon mal schön zu spät? Dann wird man nicht gefragt, wie es einem geht. Und dass ich die Haare neu habe, das ist dir auch piepegal. Und dann kriege ich auch noch um die Ohren gehauen, wenn ich mich um das Haus und die Kinder kümmere, die du im Stich gelassen hast.
Im Stich gelassen?
Ja, im Stich gelassen, Martin Waldmann. Korrigier mich, wenn ich falsch liege, aber ich habe nicht 650.000 Euro Steuern hinterzogen.
Aber darum geht's doch. Ich habe keine...
Nicht in dem Ton, Martin. Nicht in dem Ton.
Rebecca, bitte bleib hier. Entschuldige, ich hab's doch nicht so gemeint. Natürlich die Fliesen mit dem Goldrelief und die Tönung ist toll. Wirklich ganz toll.
Verarschen kann ich mich allein. Bis nächsten Monat, Martin.
Was?
Eventuell.
Bis nächsten Monat? Rebecca, ich will meine Kinder sehen. Ich hab doch nächste Woche Geburtstag. Rebecca!
Hallo, mein Name ist Tahan. Ich komme aus Chiang Mai, Thailand. Aber mein neuer Mann, Karl-Heinz, nennt mich immer nur Renate dabei. Er sagt, ist ein so schöner deutscher Name. Außerdem sein Schäferhund heißt auch Renate. Sonst kriegt er Kopfschmerzen. So, samsia, hajepika, traurige Lied über Frieden.
Schönen guten Tag, wir folgen Ihnen seit 2 Kilometern. Sie haben ein Stoppschild überfahren und Sie fahren in Schlangenlinien. Sind Sie mit einem Alkoholtest einverstanden?
Ich fass es nicht. Ich kenne Sie doch. Aus dem Fernsehen. Was machen Sie denn bei der Polizei? Nein, doch. Ich hab sie doch letzte Woche noch in diesem Film gesehen.
Da müssen Sie mich verwechseln. Sind Sie...
Clooney, der Brad Pitt des Fernsehfilms.
Jetzt hören Sie aber mal auf mit dem Quatsch. Mein Kollege hat Sie gerade gefragt, ob Sie mit einem Alkoholtest...
Moment. Haben Sie gerade gesagt, dass ich aussehe wie George Clooney?
Nein, Mann. Sie sind George Clooney. Oh, Scheiße. Darf ich ein Foto machen?
Wenn Sie sich weigern, können wir Sie auch mitnehmen.
Moment. Die Mädel in der Kneipe neulich meint auch, dass ich aussehe wie George Clooney. Von
Oh
daher...
Mann, natürlich. Acting. Oh, cool. Sie können mich ruhig verhaften und bestrafen. Aber nur, wenn ich ein Autogramm kriege. Und zwar hier hin.
Stift.
Na dann, meine Freundin. Wenn die das sieht, die bringt sich um.
Jetzt ist aber mal Schluss.
George.
Clooney, thank you so much. You are really the greatest.
Und nächstes Mal nicht so viel saufen. Jetzt Tisch ab.
Yes. Bye, bye.
Du bist vielleicht eine eitle Sau.
Ich habe Ähnlichkeit mit George Clooney, da ist sie nicht die Erste, der das auffällt. Oh. George fucking Clooney.
Okay, ich kann nicht anders. Den muss ich jetzt einfach mal angeben. Den haben wir nämlich selbst gemacht, der Jan und ich.
Was? Nee, wie das denn?
Ach, ist eigentlich ganz einfach. Du musst nur hier ein bisschen aufpassen. Bei den Türen, da brauchst du eine Gärungssäge.
Wenn wir schon beim Angeben sind, was sagt ihr eigentlich zum Wein?
Och, der ist ganz kurz.
Das denn? Oh, du, das ist ganz leicht. Wir sind jetzt bei so einem Weingut im Piemont eingestiegen. Die bringen uns das bei und das macht irrsinnig Spaß.
Und dann gibt's ja noch eine Sache, auf die wir eigentlich am meisten stolz sind.
Wie, noch was? Was denn?
Tada!
Nein, auch?
Ja, selbst gemacht.
Wie das denn? Du, das ist ganz...
Ja, bitte lass mal sehen.
Aber der Wein ist gut.
Toller Wein. Schön, dass es mit dir und herzlichen Glückwunsch zum Schrank.
Über Katalog. Ich weiß, wird nicht gerne gesehen in Deutschland, aber in Thailand, wir machen oft. Hier ist ein Foto von meinem Mann Karl-Heinz. Er hat ein bisschen gemuggelt. Foto ist über 20 Jahre alt. Und nie von ihm. Und Photoshop. Egal. Foto. Das war für sie kleine thailändische Weise traditionelle Geschichte über Katalog.
Du, sag mal, hat der Papa dir schon das Taschengeld für diese Woche gegeben?
Ja.
Oh, der Willi ist ein toller Hamster, oder?
Ja, klar.
Wäre doch schade, wenn dem Willi was passiert, oder? Wäre doch schade, wenn der Willi aus Versehen im Staubsauger landen würde, oder?
Ich habe jetzt einen Nebenjob. Ich passe 3-mal die Woche auf die Hunde von. Ich gehe immer mit denen in den Park und dann spielen wir Sachen beibringen. Ich kann jetzt schon Sitz, Platz, Pfötchen geben und Stöckchen holen. Das haben die mir alles beigebracht. Soll mal noch einer sagen, Tiere sind dumm.
Das gibt's doch gar nicht. Da kackt die Töle hier schön an den Weg und die Scheiße wird nicht mal weggemacht. Sowas kann man den ganzen Tag verderben. Arschlöcher.
Ja, das habe ich verstanden. Aber den Schluss von Ihrem Satz?
Arschlöcher gibt's.
Arschloch. Ich?
Haben Sie vielleicht mal drüber nachgedacht, dass das der Hund von meinem Mann ist? Und dass der immer so viel scheißt und Durchfall hat, weil mein Mann ihm abends immer Chips zu fressen gibt? Und dass ich jetzt mit dem Hund von meinem Mann Gassi gehen muss, weil der nur mit dem dicken Kopf vom Saufen gestern im Bett liegt, hä? Haben Sie all das in Erwägung gezogen, als Sie mich eben Arschloch genannt haben?
Nein, habe ich nicht. Ich konnte ja nicht wissen, dass...
Ja, aber jetzt...
Ja, dann wohl doch eher Ihr Mann.
Ja, dann wollen wir das mal festhalten. Ja, ich bin's. Ja, wir sind noch unterwegs. Ich habe jemanden getroffen, der dir was sagen möchte. Ja, ich gebe ihn dir einfach mal.
Ja, also, Sie sind ein Arschloch. Besser?
Ich mich auch. Ich mich auch.
Meine Damen und Herren, wegen eines aktuellen Vorfalls vor den Bordtoiletten möchte ich Sie darauf hinweisen, dass Stewardessen keine untervögelten Nymphomaninnen sind, die für jede Berührung durch einen Passagier dankbar wären. Und sollte sie Hilfe leisten kann, so wäre der in diesen Vorfall verwickelte Herr sicherlich sehr dankbar, sobald er wieder zu sich kommt. Vielen Dank. Schon 15:15. Das ist in dieser Woche das 3. Mal, dass der zu spät kommt.
Ach komm, das kann doch mal passieren.
Ja, aber hast du dich denn noch nie gefragt, was der Grund dafür... Achtung, da kommt er.
Und ich muss auch noch mal hier Hände waschen.
So, jetzt hast du es aber auch gemerkt, oder? Der Atem.
Du meinst echt, dass er...
Klar, Mann. Der raucht doch total nach Brot. Der hat ein Essproblem, Rita. Der mampft auf dem Klo garantiert noch heimlich eine Frikadelle, um auf Pegel zu kommen. Und ich wette mit dir, der hat auch in seiner Tasche wieder irgendwas Essbares versteckt. Damit konfrontieren. Wie ich gesagt habe, schön hier in der Dose ein Brot versteckt. Und gleich muss er sich die Schuhe binden und dann beißt er da heimlich rein. Und was ist das hier? Mensch, der hat überall im Büro Lebensmittel versteckt.
Scheiße. Das hätte ich nie von dem...
Ist irgendwas?
Ich weiß nicht. Rita, riechst du hier eine Wurstfahne?
Ihr wollt mir doch nicht etwa hier so ein... Ihr könnt mir doch nicht ernsthaft ein Essproblem unterstellen.
Leugnen gehört zum Krankheitsbild, Horst.
Das ist mir echt zu doof, ich hol mir einen Kaffee.
Das ist typisch. Jetzt Kaffee trinken, damit man die Wurstfahne nicht riecht, ne?
Sag mal, du hast sie doch nicht mehr alle!
Ach Mann, irgendwie tut er mir auch leid. Weißt du, das ist ja auch echt eine Krankheit mit dem Essen. Der hat auch private Probleme.
Ja, wenn er Probleme hat, dann soll er sich denen stellen. Oder er soll eine Therapie machen. Zu einem anonymen Fresssäcken gehen. Ich glaube ja, mein Chef hat ein Auge auf mich geworfen. Oh, und bei Meetings, wo ich dabei bin, lässt er sich immer vertreten. Und auf der Weihnachtsfeier hat er mit allen angestoßen, nur nicht mit mir. Das ist schon auffällig, wie sehr der mir aus dem Weg geht, damit uns da nichts angedichtet wird. Das ist auch schon den Kollegen aufgefallen. Das kribbelt richtig im Bauch. Daumen drücken.
Bewerbungsmappe, Arbeitszeugnisse, Lebenslauf. Frau Engels, Sie sehen mich sprachlos.
Beeindruckend, Frau Engels. Wir sind außergewöhnliche Leistungen gewohnt, aber eine Bewerberin wie Sie...
Für mich ist Arbeit nicht Arbeit. Ich bin meine Arbeit.
Verstehe. Gibt es irgendeine Ausbildung, die Sie nicht haben?
Master für integrierte Managementsysteme, Zeiteffizienzcoach und nicht zuletzt der Röntgenblick. Röntgenblick? Ja. Der steht in meiner Bewerbung auf Seite 3 unter Zusatzqualifikationen. Nach der Telepathie. Vor der Fähigkeit zu fliegen. Ich weiß, was Sie jetzt denken.
Frau Engels, Sie verstehen sicher, dass eine gewisse Skepsis beim Thema Röntgenblick und der Fähigkeit zu fliegen...
Ja, daher erwähne ich diese Qualifikation sehr ungern. Weil ich mich immer gezwungen sehe, sie zu demonstrieren. Eine lästige Prozedur, auf die ich wirklich gerne verzichten würde. Tja, na gut.
Vielleicht konntest du ja die anderen Sachen.
Entschuldigung, können Sie mir sagen, wie ich zum Bahnhof komme?
Ein Busbahnhof oder Bahnbahnhof?
Hauptbahnhof.
Vorder- oder Rückseite?
So schnell wie möglich.
Hauptbahnhof, innen, so schnell wie möglich. Nein, das tut mir leid, da muss ich leider patzen. So speziell kenne ich mich hier gar nicht aus.
Entschuldigung.
Und dann hat der Malte die Leni ganz fest an sich rangedrückt und hat gesagt, solange ich auf dich aufpasse, passiert dir nichts. Schade, dass du nie dabei bist.
Ja, aber der Abend heute, der gehört uns. Nur uns beiden.
10-Jähriges.
10 Jahre. Wenn du zurückblickst, wie fandst du die Zeit? Was würdest du anders machen?
Das kann man nicht so einfach beantworten.
Sag es, sing es, tanz es, lass deinen Gefühlen freien Lauf.
Darf es noch was sein?
2 Krabber, bitte.
Und eine Gitarre.
Okay.
Ich lieb dich nur noch aus Gewohnheit. Der Sex mit dir war noch nie gut. Doch ich lieb gern von deiner Kohle, bevor es eine andere tut. Du hast mir meinen geilen Körper mit deinen Blagen ruiniert.
Ups.
Und dass der Malte nicht kapiert.
Das wusste ich gar nicht.
Könnte ich die Zeit noch mal zurückdrehen, zu unserem ersten Kuss zurück. Würde ich nicht küssen, sondern kotzen, denn du bist zwar mein Mann, doch nicht mein Glück.
Chin, chin.
Wie sieht's bei dir aus?
Und eine E-Gitarre.
Deine Zimmer waren schon zu klein.
Das heißt ja, bei lesbischen Paaren ist immer, die mir so Pippi und mich angucke. Die Art, wie sie sich so gibt und kleidet, da sieht man im Vergleich direkt, das ist ganz klar der weibliche Part. Entschuldigung.
Mit einem Handtuch?
Ja, das sehe ich, aber mit was für einem Handtuch?
Mit dem, was da hängt?
Das Handtuch, das da hängt, ist das Waschbeckenhandtuch. Damit trocknet man sich die Hände und das Gesicht ab. Damit rubbelt man sich nicht den Arsch trocken.
Wieso? Geht doch. Guck mal. Hier. Trocken. Hier. Trocken. Und jetzt. Trocken.
Und nachher soll ich mit dem Lappen, mit dem du dir durchs Gemächt und durch die Arschritze gefeudelt hast, das Gesicht sauber machen? Na, geht's noch?
Was war das?
Lies, ich tu's dir wieder versprochen.
Womit trocknet man sich den Hintern ab?
Mit dem Duschhandtuch.
Und wo ist das?
Das hängt über der Dusche.
Und wenn nicht?
Vor der Dusche, damit der Teppich nicht nass wird.
Na bitte. Du, ich nehme mal kurz deinen Nassrasierer für... Ja?
File. Case Analysis. The Unraveling Threads. Introduktion. Detective Inspector Harding smoothed the sheaf of papers on his desk. The fluorescent lights of the precinct casting long shadows. Across from him, Dr. Eris Thorne, forensic psychologist, adjusted his glasses, his expression one of focused contemplation. They were tasked with a peculiar assignment, Synthesizing. A vast, disparate collection of audio transcripts, witness statements, and fragmented interview notes. These weren't standard case files detailing heinous crimes with clear perpetrators and victims. Instead, they represented a mosaic of human behavior at its most erratic, absurd, and occasionally, deeply troubled. Their goal was not merely to catalog incidents, but to understand the underlying psychological currents, the subtle cracks in the facade of normalcy that occasionally erupted into strangeness. Let's begin with the Martin and Rebecca files, Aris, Harding suggested. Tapping a thick manila folder. The sheer volume of recorded conflict suggests significant marital distress, potentially bordering on criminal negligence or worse, given the context. Dr. Tone nodded, opening his own notes. Indeed, Inspector. The dialogue. Fragments paint a picture of profound communication breakdown. Listen, 4. Instance, to this exchange regarding their child. Scene, a domestic setting, implied. I'm very surprised how many people visited me today, a voice began, laced with a tone of bewilderte Disorientation. Oh, what is this? Is this a washing machine? A washing machine? Did you understand that? I don't know, is this supposed to be a washing machine? I also didn't understand that. I'm not. Dr. Tone leaned forward. Notice the initial statement, Inspector. Is this a washing machine, followed by I also didn't understand that. I'm not. This suggests a disconnect from immediate reality, possibly paranoia or a dissociative state manifesting as confusion about familiar objects. The repetition reinforces the perceived strangeness and potential anxiety. Surrounding here surroundings. Is she questioning the object itself, or her own perception of it? The latter seems more likely, indicating a nascent internal struggle. Harding grunted, making a note. The audio timestamp places this near the beginning of their marital dispute recordings. What follows? The context shifts abruptly, Thorne continued. We have a snippet suggesting a meeting after a prolonged absence, presumably Martin returning or visiting after 6 months. The dialogue is charged with unspoken history. Scene, implied meeting place. You can pay when you get out. Well, Mun, we haven't seen each other in 6 months again. Crazy. True, it's been a long time, right? Hey. So, how did your apartment development go? Where is he? Stop et. Thorne paused. The phrase "stop it" followed by accusations concerning their child points to a recurring conflict. I've told you 100 times, but you never listen. This is classic adversarial communication, characterized by blame shifting and perceived dismissal. The shift to discussing the child immediately after suggests the child is a central point of contention, possibly an area where their parenting styles clash dramatically. The question "where is he?" indicates a possible separation or ambiguity regarding the child's custody or location. Harding interjected, "The recording seems to capture Rebecca accusing Martin." "Yeah, of course, now it's my fault again. Who else?" Then she references the child's happiness versus Martin's alleged actions. "But you liked it when he was giggling so happily, didn't you? And I've told you again and again, don't throw him up like that. Did I say yes or no?" "Yes." "You threw him up?" "Yes, because he was giggling so happily." "Precisely," Thorne confirmed. This reveals a dangerous dynamic, Rebecca claims. Martin threw the child up despite her warnings, justifying it because the child was giggling so happily. This highlights a potential disregard for safety protocols, perhaps stemming from frustration or a misguided belief that the child's momentary joy supersedes potential risk. Here insistence, did I say yes or no? Yes, indicates she feels her authority or concerns were ignored, leading to the child being put at risk. The analysis here leans towards parental stress escalating into potentially unsafe practices, fueled by reciprocal blame and differing risk assessments. The child becomes a pawn, or worse, a casualty, in their conflict. Seen later. Observation notes likely accompany this audio. "Ah, there he is. Watch out. Come on. Do you want to go over there?" "There?" "Yes." Alessandra Kinko is currently doing amazing development jumps. Harding frowned. "Alessandra Kinko? A child?" Likely referring to their son, Inspector, Thorne replied. The term development jumps is fascinating. It implies rapid progress, possibly accelerated learning or physical milestones. The narrator seems proud, attributing this to various caregivers. Scene, dialogue, possibly a phone call or relayed information. At least, that's what our daily mother says. She says that if she takes him out of kindergarten in the afternoon, he can say 10 new words every day. And if she brings him to my parents in the evening, he can say 10 new words again. So, this is really a great age at the moment. It's incredibly interesting to watch. Z. Try it with your shoe. Thorn sighed softly. This illustrates parental projection and perhaps Exaggeration, Inspector. The reported increase of 10 new words from kindergarten and another 10 new words from grandparents, totaling 20. Potentially new words daily seems statistically improbable for any child, regardless of age. This might reflect a desire to perceive exceptional development, possibly to compensate for perceived failings in other areas of their parenting or relationship. The instruction "try it with your shoe" is cryptic. It could be an attempt to engage the child in a learning activity, or perhaps a metaphor directed at the listener, suggesting they try to understand the developmental process through a tangible example. It's bizarrely specific, demanding an abstract concept be demonstrated via footwear. Harding pointed to another line. Then there's this shoe? Yes, you have the high heels. With your shoe. What? Jan. What? What? Do it, you're such a good boy. This implies Martin is being addressed, perhaps tasked with interacting with the child, Thorne noted. The reference to high heels could suggest Rebecca is nearby, or perhaps Martin is being asked to relate the shoe concept to Rebecca's footwear. The repetition of what suggests confusion or resistance. From Martin. The final affirmation, "Do it, you're such a good boy," is standard positive reinforcement, but its context implies it's used perhaps manipulatively, to coerce compliance in a potentially confusing interaction. Scene, a seemingly unrelated flashback or personal anecdote. The most beautiful day of my life was when my then boyfriend Florian and I lay side by side on the mattress for 2 hours. He put his hand on my shoulder, put my hand on his thigh. It was beautiful. But then the stupid kindergarten teacher came and took us out of the bedroom because we were supposed to make our own lanterns. How long? I've never been this close again. Harding raised an eyebrow. Florian? This isn't Martin. And took us out of the bedroom? This sounds like a childhood memory, perhaps related to early intimacy. Exactly, Thorne confirmed. This anecdote serves multiple potential functions. Firstly, it establishes a baseline of desired intimacy, simple proximity. touch, quiet connection. Sekundlich, the interruption by the kindergarten teacher. And the task of making lanterns represents the intrusion of obligation, Routine, and societal expectation disrupting personal peace. The phrase "how long?" I've never been this close again carries a profound sense of loss, suggesting that the idealized intimacy described was never replicated. This speaks volumes about the narrator's potential dissatisfaction with current relationships, possibly projecting this longing onto their present circumstances, explaining the tension with Martin. Scene, wedding context, perhaps a phone call interruption. And that's why I'm asking you, Heike Glober, do you want to take the present Geldstücke to your husband? Yes. Yes, she's here. I can do that. Harding frowned. This dialogue feels like part of a ceremony. Do you want to take the present Geldstücke to your husband? Likely a garbled wedding vow. Or question. Heike Glober seems to be the bright. But the following lines are Jaring. Indeed, Thorne agreed. The interruption seems to be a phone call, likely from someone outside the immediate ceremony, perhaps a disgruntled party or an acquaintance. The tone shifts dramatically. Scene, phone call during the wedding. There's a call for you. Hello? Oh, you. Why are you calling me now? Yes, I'm busy. I'm getting married right now. Thorne gestured towards the transcript. The speaker is clearly agitated. Defensive. They feel the call is intrusive. The reason for the call relates to perceived betrayal or disagreement. Because you didn't come anyway. Yes, I know that you think Gert sucks. Yes. But it's my life that I'm ruining. Here, the narrator reveals awareness of another person's negative opinion of Geldstücke, the groom, Thorne explained. They acknowledge this judgment but frame their decision as personal autonomy. It's my life that I'm ruining. This implies the marriage is perhaps not ideal, possibly a marriage of convenience or a decision driven by factors other than pure love, such as perceived financial security. Because he has a lot of money. No, we didn't make a marriage contract. Yes, right, because then I'm the hero. The mention of money is explicit, Thorne pointed out. This strongly suggests the marriage is financially motivated. The denial of a marriage contract, we didn't make a marriage contract, followed by yes, right, because then I'm the Hero is particularly revealing. It suggests the lack of a contract is being framed as a selfless act, perhaps to counter criticism or guilt associated with marrying for money. It's a subtle manipulation of perception, portraying oneself as magnanimous while potentially benefiting greatly. Yes, okay, I'll call you. Yes, I'll call you tomorrow. Yes, bye. The call ends with a promise to connect later, indicating the immediate crisis. The wedding takes precedence, but the underlying conflict or conversation is not resolved. This fragment highlights the complexities of motivation in relationships, the intersection of love, financial security, social pressure, and potentially manipulation. Scene: back to the wedding ceremony, the interrupted vows. What was that? Your mother is so sweet. Come on, let's continue. Do you want to love him and give him until death decides? Then answer now. Harding shook his head. Give him? It should be honor him or cherish him. And until death decides, the phrasing is slightly off, but the intent is clear. A commitment ceremony. Yet, the preceding phone call suggests the commitment might be based on flawed premises. The immediate transition back to the vow after the stressful call underscores the narrator's determination, perhaps forced, to proceed despite internal conflict or external disapproval. Scene: transition to a different event, possibly a gathering or party. Martin, quick, come. I have to show you something. Is the revision done? No. Much better. Wait a minute. Thorne identified this character interaction. This brings us back to Martin. Seemingly interacting with someone else now, perhaps related to work or a project. Is the revision done? The response no, much better implies an improvement or a different outcome. The following lines introduce a highly visual, anecdotal element. Scene: viewing photos or video footage. This is very hot material. Karen, burnt an eye on the fun banana on Lanzarote. And now watch out for Ernst. And Zuck, he's back in there. He had a good cup of course. You know Bernd. Every 10 seconds he flew off the banana. We laughed. You can't imagine that. Oh, now comes the absolute crowning. Jan-Erik in the club in the evening at the Kauperinghe Limbo. Tell me, are you even looking? Yes. Van Benene, Bernd, Jan-Erik. Harding scanned the details. Lanzarote. Van Benene. caipirinha limbo. This sounds like holiday mishaps. Hot material could imply embarrassing or revealing footage. Bands repeat it. Falling off the banana suggests either poor balance or perhaps excessive consumption, linking back to Thorne's earlier hypothesis about stress and coping mechanisms. Jan Erik appears at a club, possibly associated with Rebecca from earlier dialogues. This suggests overlapping social circles and potential connections. The speaker's tone is jovial, recalling humorous incidents Thorne observed. However, the context shifts to an accusation of disinterest from the listener. Possibly Martin. I have the impression that since you are in here you are not interested in our club excursions at all. Yes, but what are you missing all the time? Your poem is so stupid. Yours is also so strange. This exchange indicates friction, Thorne continued. The speaker feels their shared experiences or social life are being neglected. The insults, your poem is so stupid. Yours is also so strange, suggest a childish escalation of disagreement, possibly a deflection from a deeper issue. Perhaps Martin is perceived as withdrawn or preoccupied. Scene, further into Martin and Rebecca's interaction, perhaps post-holiday. You think you're dealing with a madman. Rebecca, they didn't let me sleep for a few nights. And then with the power cable. Harding leaned back. This sounds like Martin speaking to Rebecca. Matman. He's anticipating her judgment or accusation. Sleep deprivation and power. Cable, deeply unsettling. Is this literal? A threat? Sleep deprivation is often a precursor to severe psychological distress or a tool used in coercive situations. The phrase "and then with the power cable" is particularly alarming, Tone stated gravely. Without further context, it's ambiguous but highly suggestive of potential violence or threat. It could refer to a malfunctioning appliance causing disruption, or something far more sinister. The implication is that Rebecca feels threatened or is being made to feel threatened, perhaps even implying Martin's instability. Scene, a scene involving children and a photo. Martin. Look, please. What are you doing? The children wanted to know what you look like now. The reason? You're dad. And gone. What are you doing? I uploaded the photo to the children on Facebook. Then you'll see it right away. What? On Facebook? Are you stupid? Should everyone see me like that? My God. And then it always says, we women are jealous. Rebecca is speaking here, Inspector Thorne clarified. She uploaded a photo of Martin, presumably without his full consent or knowledge of the context. Perhaps intended for their children. Martin's reaction is one of shock and indignation. Are you stupid? Should everyone see me like that? He feels exposed and vulnerable. His exclamation, my God, signifies distress. Rebecca's retort, and then it always says, we women are jealous, attempts to dismiss his reaction by attributing it to stereotypical female behavior, deflecting blame, and potentially justifying her actions. It suggests a pattern of behavior where Rebecca might use social media or public platforms in ways that disregard Martin's privacy or comfort. Tone. Adac. This can be a form of control or passive aggression within their conflict. Scene, subsequent conversation about the Facebook photo. Rebecca, I just didn't want. What's so funny? Jan-Erik commented on your photo on Facebook. Here, look. Isn't that the dentist from Hangover? Jan-Erik. That's a brand, too. Harding interjected. Jan-Erik again. The dentist reference is peculiar. Is Jan-Erik known for dental work, or is it a slang term? And that's a brand, too. Implying Jan-Erik has a certain reputation or is recognizable. It seems Jan-Erik has made a public comment on Martin's photo, perhaps something flirtatious or mocking, leading to amusement from Rebecca and annoyance from Martin, Thorne analyzed. The narrator attempts to downplay their involvement or comment with I just didn't want, but is quickly drawn into the absurdity. The line Jan-Erik, that's a brand, too suggests Jan-Erik carries a certain notoriety or perhaps represents a specific lifestyle or archetype that is recognized. What am I even trying to encourage Mr. Grieskram here? Can I save my visits here right away? This speaker, likely Martin, is expressing frustration, perhaps feeling mocked or patronized. Grieskram is a derogatory term implying someone is perpetually grumpy or miserable. He seems to be questioning the point of continuing the interaction, possibly wanting to withdraw from the situation and Rebecca's company. Scene, a medical consultation context. Rebecca. I had constipation recently. not one where the siphon is full of slud. No, here. Thorne paused, a flicker of bemused resignation crossing his face. Inspector. This shifts dramatically to a medical context, seemingly initiated by Rebecca. Addressing a doctor, possibly Dr. T mentioned earlier. The description of constipation is graphic and colloquial, not one where the siphon is full of slud. This indicates a visceral, perhaps embarrassed, way of describing a severe physical discomfort. In a chocolate factory. No, no. Good. If you need something like that, it's the same in both cases. A pipe, pliers, toilet paper and a can of seawater. Don't tolerate tablets. The chocolate factory is likely a metaphor for the perceived blockage. Thorne explained. The prescribed remedy, pipe, pliers, toilet paper. Seewater is entirely non-standard, bordering on the absurd. It highlights the patient's aversion to conventional medicine. I don't tolerate tablets, and suggests a preference for extreme, possibly self-prescribed, and potentially dangerous, unconventional methods. The combination of elements seems designed to evoke a sense of desperate, almost mechanical, problem-solving for a biological issue. Now it's a free ride again. Grießkram. Yes, Mrs. Haas? Take a seat. This final line shifts perspective again. It seems Mrs. Haas is now the patient, entering the doctor's office, possibly Dr. Camp's, perhaps connecting to the earlier Grießkram comment indirectly, suggesting a pattern of difficult patience or perhaps Dr. Camp's own professional weariness. The phrase free right again is ambiguous. It could refer to the ease of getting an appointment, or perhaps a cynical observation about the nature of patient complaints. Scene: another medical consultation. Focus on diagnosis. Where do you press the shoe? Yes, doctor, that's a very strange thing. Haven't been able to read what you're saying for ages. Can you see? Down there. Indeed. Since when do you have that? Harding noted the patient's distress. This sounds like a patient describing vision problems or difficulty understanding speech. Press the shoe is still unclear, perhaps a mishearing or a very strange instruction. The core issue is impaired communication perception. The last time I was at my parents' in Schwabeländle, I only swore dialect. Say. I thought so. you suffer from a severe form of subtitling. This is where the diagnosis emerges, Thornset, a hint of clinical amusement in his voice. Schwabeländle points to a region known for its dialect. The patient struggles to understand even basic sounds, say defaulting to dialect when relaxed. The doctor's diagnosis, a severe form of subtitling, is medically nonsensical but metaphorically apt. It describes a condition where the brain struggles to decode or subtitle spoken language, potentially filtering it into a familiar dialect or failing to process standard pronunciation. I don't want to say subtitling anymore, especially with people who speak dialect or tend to articulate impurely. This disease is becoming more and more prevalent. Unfortunately, there are no drugs against it yet. The doctor acknowledges the condition's prevalence, particularly among those speaking dialects or with unclear articulation. This is satirical commentary on linguistic diversity clashing with standardized communication norms. The lack of a cure adds to the existential plight of the afflicted. That's awful. Is that contagious? There are so far few findings about that. Believe in it, good Lord. You know what? I'll prescribe you a Duden. Duden? That's great. I've heard of it before. A placebo, perhaps? Or a fictional drug, Thorne mused. The patient's hopeful reaction, that's great. I've heard of it before, suggests a willingness to believe in a solution, highlighting the human desire for remedies, even imaginary ones. The entire exchange satirizes medical diagnosis, Patient anxieties, and the subjective nature of perceived ailments. Scene, a personal reflection on marriage and education. My husband Karl-Heinz is a good man. He didn't care about my background or education. I told him openly, Karl-Heinz, he studied in Chiang Mai. Social sciences, psychology, medicine and comparative studies. 4 PhDs, Karl-Heinz. Sakit, I don't give a shit. I'm a man. That's why I wrote a traditional Thai song about comparative studies in my second year of education. Harding shook his head in disbelief. Chiang Mai? 4 PhDs? And the husbands. Response? I don't give a shit. I'm a man. This contrasts sharply intellectual achievement with a blunt, perhaps masculinist, dismissal. The traditional Thai song about comparative studies is deeply surreal, a fusion of academic subject matter with cultural expression, likely intended to appease or impress, but ultimately demonstrating a bizarre disconnect. This narrative fragment speaks volumes about identity negotiation within a marriage. Thorne elaborated. The speaker, likely Mai Ying-tan based on context. Clues from later files, asserts her considerable academic achievements. Karl-Heinz's reaction dismisses this entirely, perhaps feeling intellectually inferior or simply adhering to traditional gender roles where intellectual prowess in a partner is irrelevant or even threatening. His creation of the Thai song is an attempt to engage on his own terms, however absurdly. It highlights cultural misunderstandings, differing values regarding intellect and status, and the potential power dynamics within relationships where one partner feels intellectually diminished. Scene: workplace crisis, job loss. I don't know what to do with myself. Is it that bad? Oppa man will get the job. I sat here all afternoon and kept my fingers crossed for you. Oh, no. Oh, baby. And the position I'm in will be the first to be removed. Right at the next Rationalisation. Thornsite. A classic scenario of workplace anxiety and disappointment. The speaker has lost out on a promotion, Oppa man will get the job, and faces redundancy. The position I'm in will be the first to be removed. The emotional distress is palpable. Oh, no. Oh, baby. This reflects the deep impact of career instability on self-worth and future prospects. The speaker receiving comfort. I sat here all afternoon and kept my fingers crossed for you, suggests a supportive relationship, perhaps with a partner or close colleague, yet the overwhelming feeling is one of despair and uncertainty. Scene: a partner offering bleak comfort. No, now look at it positively. If I leave you, you don't care about the job. Harding grimaced. That's not comforting. It sounds like a threat, or a cynical justification for leaving. If I leave you, you don't care about the job. Why should I leave you? Now don't break your head over something like that. If you only live on the street, then such a relationship is no longer so important. Why should I live on the street? It doesn't matter. You're an alcoholic anyway. They don't get anything at all. So keep your head up. This dialogue is deeply troubling, Inspector, Thorne stated gravely. The Speaker seems to be offering a warped perspective on potential hardship. T. Suggests that if the other person loses their job and becomes homeless, live on the street, their relationship significance diminishes. This is followed by a direct, insulting accusation, "You're an alcoholic anyway." This attempt at positive framing is incredibly destructive, bordering on emotional abuse. It seems designed to demoralize further, perhaps as a way to distance themselves or justify their own actions or inaction. The closing encouragement, "So keep your head up," feels hollow and cruel in this context. What are you talking about, Thomas? Nothing can happen to you. Life is beautiful. I didn't want to tell you that. You're right. Why is everything so negative? That's exactly what I mean. Here, the speaker shifts tone slightly, perhaps trying to backtrack or offer a different platitude, Thorne observed. Addressing someone named Thomas, they attempt to inject optimism. Nothing can happen to you. Life is beautiful. However, the preceding dialogue has already sown seeds of despair and accusation. The line, "I didn't want to tell you that," suggests hidden resentments or perhaps knowledge of Thomas's vulnerability. The final remarks, "You're right. Why is everything so negative?" That's exactly what I mean, could indicate Thomas acknowledging his own negativity, possibly accepting the harsh advice or internalizing the criticism. And if necessary, you can still put a hairdryer in the bathtub at any time. What would I do without your positive attitude? Nothing. That's the beauty of it. Harding paled slightly. A hairdryer in the bathtub? That's highly suggestive of self-harm. Precisely, Inspector, Thorne confirmed, his voice steady despite the gravity. This is the most dangerous line yet. The suggestion, framed almost casually under the guise of positive attitude, is a thinly veiled reference to suicide. The speaker's response, "What would I do without your positive attitude?" Nothing. That's the beauty of it, implies a dependency, perhaps even a perverse encouragement, or simply a detached observation of Thomas's expressed willingness to resort to such measures. This segment depicts a relationship where destructive impulses are acknowledged, perhaps even normalized, under a veneer of dark humor or fatalistic acceptance. It demands immediate intervention if Thomas is identifiable. Scene, travel context, airport check-in. Have a good trip. Thank you. Good day. I booked the flight to New York. That's right, Mr. Wilbert. Do you have Luggage? Thorne nodded. Mr. Wilbert is traveling. The airline agent makes dismissive, judgmental comments about his appearance. Out of fashion. Ugly. That color. Why not? Overestimated. Probably too tight. Ugly. Old. Old. Sonntag, do you still have hand luggage? No. Good. Then that's ET. 28. Have a good trip. The agent's commentary, out of fashion. Ugly. Bad color. Overestimated. Probably too tight. Ugly. Old. Is unprofessional and cruel, Thorne stated. It reflects a societal tendency towards harsh judgment based on superficial appearances. The comments seem gratuitous, perhaps stemming from personal boredom or a lack of empathy. Mr. Wilbert's quiet acceptance and lack of checked luggage suggest he is either resigned to such treatment or simply focused on his journey. The number 28 could refer to a baggage fee, a seat number, or perhaps a ticket identifier, its context lost. Scene, a strange encounter in the subway. Lately, a totally horny cut is bugging me in the subway. Whispers into my ear that she normally doesn't do that, but she will go to bed with me on the spot. Would be the coolest man you've ever seen. That was a bad idea. Of course he didn't notice. It was a nice afternoon. Only Pippi shouldn't know about ET's it will break her heart. Harding raised an eyebrow. Horny cut? This phrasing is highly unusual. Possibly slang for a person, maybe female, displaying overt sexual interest. The interaction is unsolicited, intimate, whispers into my ear, and includes flattery. I would be the coolest man. The speaker clearly found the proposition unsettling or inappropriate, labeling it a bad idea. The concluding thought about Pippi suggests a current partner or someone important to the speaker, whose potential heartbreak is a concern. This points towards potential sexual harassment experienced by the narrator, coupled with guilt or fear regarding their primary relationship. Scene, reporting a crime, fantastical elements emerge. Good day. Good day. How can I help you? I wanted to report a murder. Harding leaned forward. Finally, a direct report of a crime. But the context rapidly devolves. Okay. When and where did it happen? In the deer park. This morning. This morning? Yes, very early. I'm always jogging there. And you're only coming now? Well, but I'm here now. But it's way too late. Take day can be anywhere. Why are you only coming in the evening? No, I just said I was jogging. And tin? Tin. You got sandwiches or what? Yes, yes. Yes, yes. At the bakery. Yes, and you also. Talked to a friend. Yes, exactly. I haven't seen her in a while. The, the, u. The, Well, the. Claudia. Yes, exactly, Claudia. How do you know Claudia? Are you kidding me? No. Thorne tapped his pen. The initial interaction is procedural establishing. Time and place. The reporter claims to have jogged there this morning but is only reporting now, in the evening. The officer's questioning, Aunt only coming now, highlights the delay, implying lost time for investigation. The reporter deflects, mentioning breakfast stops, bakery, and a conversation with a friend, Claudia. This detail about knowing Claudia seems to create suspicion or disbelief in the officer, perhaps implying the reporter is hiding something or not being entirely truthful about the sequence of events. Oh, my God. There's a killer out there. You tell me right now what happened. Yes, yes. For several hours, I was 4,000 meters below sea level. 4,000 meters. Yes. And tin? Well, it was so hot in the park with the weather. And I had already jogged for a while. And then I thought to myself, now I'll cool down a bit. And then I'm with my legs in the duck pond. There in the park. This is where the narrative takes a sharp turn into the fantastical, Tone. Noted. The reporter claims to have been 4,000 meters below sea level for several hours. This is physically impossible in a park setting. The explanation involves cooling off in a duck pond. This is clearly not a literal account. It suggests a highly imaginative or delusional state, possibly a coping mechanism to process trauma, or a deliberate attempt to obscure reality. And then I see on the other side, on the playground, how two men are arguing. And one of them takes out a knife and stabs the other with it in the chest. And Then I wanted to grab my cell phone to call the police. And at that moment, out of nowhere, a huge pothole comes out of the water. A big one. And it swallowed me. Like catching a shark. With grills and crabs and fish. And what was there to eat? And there I was. Completely wet. In the stinking stomach of the whale. The murder itself is described, 2 men arguing, one stabbing the other. This appears to be the event the reporter witnessed. However, the subsequent swallowing by a huge pothole transforming into a whale is pure allegory or delusion, Thorne explained. The details, grills and crabs and fish. Stinking stomach, create a vivid, albeit bizarre, internal landscape. The reporter seems to be positioning themselves as a victim within this fantastical narrative, overwhelmed and consumed by the event they witnessed. Floor dark. Everything smelt like fish. And through the pressure on my ears, I realized that we had to dive 4,000 meters down. Down there, where the whale may eat the big tuna fish or something. Then I thought, not with me. And with my keychain, I rubbed it around the inside of the whale's stomach for a long time until it had to sneeze. And then the whale shot up to the surface and blew me out through the hole in his head. And then I landed in APAC and lost one of my shoes. Honestly, it hurts the most. The resolution of this internal ordeal involves the reporter using their keychain to induce a sneeze in the whale, leading to their expulsion. Tone continued. This highly symbolic act suggests a desire for agency or escape. The final detail, losing a shoe and claiming it hurts the most, provides a grounding, relatable detail amidst the absurdity. It elevates the loss of footwear to the level of profound suffering, perhaps a satirical comment on misplaced priorities or the trauma experienced even in the midst of fantastical events. This entire narrative arc strongly suggests a severe psychological disturbance, potentially psychosis or a highly elaborate defense mechanism. Yes. Sonntag. Let's get this on paper first. What did the suspect look like? Big. Smooth. 3 eyes. And a pair of pliers. Instead of a jaw, a pair of blades. I'll put this in the pantry. It can take a little longer. You can sit there. Yes. Harding frowned deeply. 3 eyes? Pliers for a jaw. Blades instead of a jaw? This description is monstrous, entirely non-human. I'll put this in the pantry. The officer seems resigned, treating the bizarre description dismissively. It can take a little longer. This suggests the reporter is not considered a reliable source, and perhaps the case is being shelved due to its outlandish nature. This description is the epitome of psychological projection or delusion. Thorne concluded. The suspect represents a monstrous manifestation of the reporter's internal turmoil or fear. The players and blades evoke a sense of being cut, manipulated, or forcibly altered. The three eyes suggest an unnatural perception or an entity that sees things differently. The officer's reaction, filing it away, reflects the practical challenges investigators face when confronted with narratives detached from observable reality. It highlights the boundary between subjective experience and objective evidence. Scene: neighborhood interactions, package delivery. Hello. Can you perhaps accept a package for Mr. Cobalt? He's not at home, right now. Suche. Great. Which floor does he live on? Cobalt doesn't tell me anything. Right now. In the third. No. The Hausmann family lives in the third. I know that. By chance. Mr. Cobalt also lives in the third, but not in this house. Oh. Next. Door. No. In 17 Marienstraße. Marienstraße. You live in Cologne for 20 years and still don't know it. Where is it? Not in Cologne. In Munich. Near the Italian market. Oh. I can take it with me. Then Mr. Cobalt has to go to the post office. No, no, no. That's okay. It's nice to get to know your neighbors. Great. Schreiben Sie. Tschüss. Vielen Dank. Parting sight. More mundane interactions, albeit confusingly specific. Mr. Cobalt seems elusive. Marienstraße. Cologne. Munich. The location shifts. Seem intentional misdirection or genuine confusion. The neighbor seems helpful, but slightly exasperated by the directions. Schreiben Sie. Tschüss. Implies. The neighbor might be writing down details, perhaps address confirmation. This vignette showcases everyday confusion and the small complexities of neighborly interactions, Thorne noted. The slight geographical inconsistencies might suggest unreliable memory, deliberate Obfuscation, or simply the chaos of fragmented information. It's the sort of detail that might be relevant if Mr. Cobalt were implicated in something larger, perhaps linked to logistics or tracking. Scene of a humorous, politically tinged commentary. I have to go to Hanoi now, because I'm taking care of Mrs. Hyan's cats this week. They are not on vacation. Ah. Do you happen to pass through New Delhi? I've had the drill from Mr. Rankesh Khan for weeks. You could hand it over when you drop it off. No problem. Hadamit? You are a treasure. For that, I'll make you a pancake in sight. One hand washes the other. Talked into ET ready. Thorne chuckled softly. This is a delightful piece of absurdist dialogue. Inspector. The speaker is traveling extensively Hanoi, New Delhi. The errands are peculiar, cat-sitting for Mrs. Hyan, perhaps a playful jab, returning a drill for Mr. Rankesh Khan. The exchange culminates in a mutual favor. Pact, one hand washes the other. The casualness with which these Verflung favors are arranged is quite witty. The President of America, so the Negro, had actually promised firmly that this terrible Guantanamo would no longer exist. Sonntag he didn't keep ET. Ah, here we encounter the misplaced Guantanamo, Thorne noted. The speaker incorrectly associates the name with a food item rather than the detention facility. This reveals a disconnect from current events or a misunderstanding of terminology, potentially highlighting how news and information can become garbled or trivialized. I was recently at the 11th birthday party of a very good friend of mine. And there was already such a huge bowl of Guantanamo on the buffet again. Nothing for me. Tastes unpleasantly like avocado anyway. The satirical element is clear, Thorne explained. The speaker confuses the political entity with a food item present at a birthday buffet. The negative comment about its taste, unpleasantly like avocado, adds another layer of mundane critique onto a politically charged term. It's a gentle satire on how significant issues can be misunderstood or reduced to trivialities in casual conversation. Scene: customs inspection at the border. Yoo-hoo! Good day. Customs check. Are you coming from the Netherlands? Yes, I was. At the sea. Scheveningen. Please get out of the vehicle. Have you brought any narcotics with you? Cannabis, LSD, other drugs? Drugs? No. Harding shifted in his seat. A routine custom stop. The driver claims to have been in Scheveningen, Netherlands. The officer is direct about searching for drugs. Better say it right away. We'll find the stuff anyway. And then the trouble will be even greater. Wow, wow, wow. It stinks in there. Mushrooms, perhaps? Have no drugs. Look for yourself. Yes, we will do that. Let the job check. Could you please remove that from the passenger seat? Suche. Clean. Well, it looks like. I was only at the sea after all. We can pack up again. I'll help you quickly. Quickly. Yes, nothing personal. We're just doing our job here too. Yes, no problem. Have a good trip. Thank you. I could have sworn he had something with him. The search proceeds with suspicion. It stinks in there. Mushrooms, perhaps? The driver maintains innocence. Thorne recounted. The officer insists. We'll find the stuff anyway, displaying a preemptive assumption of guilt. Despite the search and the lingering suspicion, I could have sworn he had something with him. Nothing is found. The outcome is benign. The driver was indeed just returning from the seaside. This sequence serves to illustrate the procedures and pressures of border control, the potential for unwarranted suspicion, and the relief of a clean outcome. It also subtly hints at the constant underlying tension and distrust inherent in such checks. Scene, post-meeting feedback session, sharp corporate satire. That was a wonderful conclusion to our senior management meeting feedback seminar. I thank you for 2 exciting and stimulating days here in this great environment. But I would find it nice to hear a decisive summary now. Thorne smirked. A classic corporate wrap-up. The speaker is clearly looking for actionable conclusions after a lengthy seminar. Frau Mühlenfels, very briefly. Yes, Schmidt is completely drunk grabbing. Jäger threw up before his presentation out of excitement. Winter took a day off during the museum visit. And you, Mrs. Petrie, are basically a leaky sister. Haven't let you in yet. Although you had 5 hotel interests to choose from, it matches my notes. This is where the facade crumbles, Thorne chuckled. Instead of a positive summary, Frau Mühlenfels launches into